Pakistan's federal cabinet has approved the deployment of 3 companies of the Pakistan Army in Rawalpindi for 6 months, and this under Article 245 of the Constitution. The decision follows a request from the Punjab Home Department, with the Ministry of Interior issuing a formal notification. The Army will assist the district administration in maintaining law and order, including security at sensitive locations and key roads, and responding to any untoward situation. The deployment comes at a time when questions over the expanding role of the military in Pakistan's political and institutional affairs are again in focus. Army Chief Asim Muni's influence has expanded significantly after he was elevated to the rank of Field Marshal and appointed Chief of Defence Forces. The Parliament has also passed major legislation that has further redefined the command structure of Pakistan's military. Now, against this backdrop, PPP Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has called on the military to stay within its constitutional role. Bilawal said that the primary responsibility of the DGISPR and military institutions should be borders, national security and military affairs, not Sindh's political or provincial matters. Listen to this.
The primary duty of DGISPR and military institutions is to focus on borders, national security and military affairs. They should avoid interfering in Sindh's political and provincial matters and stay within the constitutional limits. Decisions regarding Sindh must be made by the people and their elected representatives. Undemocratic interference only further weakens democratic institutions.
Now, the Rawalpindi deployment, however, has been formally authorised under Article 245 and is described as a law and order support measure for the district administration. However, the developments put the spotlight on the delicate balance between the military's constitutional security role and civilian authority in Pakistan. And to discuss this in greater detail, we're now being joined from New Delhi by Captain Alok Bansal, the Director of India Foundation and Executive Director of South Asian Institute for Strategic Affairs. Captain Bansal, 3 army companies for 6 months is a very calculated decision here, and especially in Rawalpindi. Not Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, not Balochistan, not even Sindh for that matter, but Rawalpindi, which is the Pakistani military establishment's nerve center. And interestingly, it's also where Imran Khan is imprisoned in Adiala jail. I'm curious to know, how are you reading into this development?
There are 2 factors which we need to look into it, because whatever has happened in recent past has put Pakistani government under strain. Firstly, PPP, which was supporting the government, has actually come out openly against the government and against the military. They have questioned the way elections were conducted in POJK, the Pakistan occupied territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and there have been numerous issues. At the same time, there are reports emanating from Pakistan which say that there are tensions between the civilian government and the military leadership. Now, the deployment of this army has twofold purposes. One is, of course, now after this statements coming out from Imran Khan's family about what Imran Khan has said, there is likelihood of PTI supporters trying to storm the jail or something, which these army units could be used to establish law and order. But these army units could also be used to stage a military coup in case the civilian government does not abide by what the military is asking them to do. Because in Pakistan's case, 111 Brigade has already been doing it, and now these 3 companies have in addition been deployed just to give them a signal that yes, we are there. Because there have been reports that after Supreme Court asked Imran Khan to be shifted to Shifa Hospital, there were people within the civilian establishments who felt that the government should abide by the Supreme Court directives. But the military is, I think, very firm that under no circumstances will Imran Khan be allowed to go anywhere outside the jail. And as Imran Khan's sister has rightly brought out, that he has not been allowed any human contact, and he has been incarcerated despite having hypertension and other problems that he's having.
Captain Bansal, now the deployment, it does come just weeks before the PTI's September 27th long march to Islamabad. And given the extraordinary sensitivity around Khan's custody and his medical treatment this week, do you think that this latest development is also indicative of Pakistan perhaps preparing for a fresh phase of political confrontation?
There is no doubt. In fact, the confrontation is, of course, inevitable because Imran Khan's party, as well as his family, is seeking that he should be at least treated like normal prisoners, if nothing else. He needs to be given that access to his family members to meet him, the medical facilities, the normal medical facilities, to see the doctor of his own choice, which is not being allowed. He's not being permitted to come to a private hospital for his treatment. So these are the issues. And I think there is no doubt that Imran Khan continues to be the most popular politician in Pakistan. And if there was a free and fair elections, he would win hands down. So in that sort of a circumstances, the youth especially, which is a very strong supporter of Imran Khan, they may descend in a big way. And Imran Khan's party has a government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, from where they are, I think, likely to organize and march onto Punjab. So this military force will be used to, I think, counter this movement. But at the same time, one issue which is further cropping up is that now even Maulana Fazlur Rahman and his JUIF, which is a religious political party with a dedicated cadre, which has not a very popular party, but it has a very dedicated cadre, has also come around with a position. So there is a possibility that you could have a large number of forces coming together. And to counter that, they are, I think, what they are looking at, and they're trying to deal with this sort of a situation. I think for that also army's deployment is there. But I think doing it at this juncture, because 27th September is still far off, but I think they feel that there may be some turbulence after Imran Khan's statement immediately. There is a possibility of some statements now, or there could also be some issues where you could see some tensions between the civilian government and military, because if PPP continues on this path, then the government should fall. The government by itself does not have a clear majority. So even if military tries to arm twist them, because I think the political parties are now realizing that continuing with military support is actually a losing proposition, because they're losing the popular support, and especially PPP, which is not a part of the government, realizes that better, and that's why they have started distancing themselves from the government.
And Captain Bansal, if you talk about the Article 245, we know that it allows Pakistan's armed forces to be deployed in aid of civilian power. So constitutionally, this isn't unprecedented or even automatically an extraordinary suspension of civilian authority. But politically, the symbolism is much heavier in Pakistan. The military already has an unusually powerful role in Pakistani politics and national security. But whenever the army is brought into an urban political environment, and particularly around a major political confrontation, now where does the assistance to civilian administration end and military management of political space begin, according to you?
See, Article 245 allows military to come in aid of civil power. Now, at this moment, Pakistan's civilian government, as well as civil power itself, is actually subservient to the military leadership. In fact, most important decisions are being taken by military leadership, and civilian leadership is just following suit. Just to give you an example, this Imran Khan's isolation, the dealing with Imran Khan, it's all military decisions. And invariably, this article is used, as these provisions exist in India also. The military is brought when there is some problem, there is already some turbulence. Here it is actually in anticipation of turbulence, and I think either the news is being not propagated, there are already turbulence in Pakistan after Imran Khan's statements probably, or they are visualizing that there is likely to be huge turbulence after what the statements have emanated from him, which could instigate his supporters to actually march or storm towards the Adiala jail, which his supporters have said. That could create a confrontation. But as I said, in Pakistan's case, aid to civil power is actually a myth, because civil power itself is subservient to military. So whenever military wants to come, they actually come to power, and that's what they're doing. And especially doing it in a place like Rawalpindi, which has the general headquarters, has been the head office of the Pakistan Army, which has been the de facto ruler of Pakistan, is very, very significant. It, I think, sends the wrong signals to the democratic institutions as well as to the international community.
Right, of course, we'll have to wait and see how the situation develops, Captain Bansal. But for now, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your perspective with us.